another stimulus update video, and we have some juicy news today, guys. Okay, so yesterday's press briefing in the Rose Garden was awkward, to say the least. There were a lot of awkward pauses at the end, and of course we know that President Trump did leave the press briefing early due to whatever that situation was at the end with the reporters. Again, as I always say, this is a bipartisan video. I am not claiming either political party. I'm just giving you the facts and the truth so you'll know what's going on with your money, or the money that you should be getting. So the press briefing ended briefly, but before it did, we got a little good news. One reporter was able to sneak in a question about the stimulus, and President Trump gave an answer. Let's take a look at what President Trump had to say when the reporter asked him if we would be seeing a second round of stimulus checks.
Please, go ahead.
Mr. President, what are your thoughts about a second round of direct payments to Americans that's included in the House Democratic bill?
Well, we're talking about that with a lot of different people. I want to see a payroll tax cut. I want to see various things that we want. I want the workers to be taken care of. But we are talking about that. We're negotiating with the Democrats. We'll see what happens. But as I said, it's a transition, and this is really going to be, in my opinion, we'll see, but I think it's going to be something that's going to be very special. It's a transition to greatness, and greatness is next year, right from the beginning. I think we're going to do fantastically well. I view the third quarter, as I said, as a transition quarter. Could be pretty good, but a transition quarter. Toward the end of the fourth quarter, you're going to see some numbers that are going to be tremendous, I think. And next year, you're going to have potentially the kind of numbers that you saw before, and maybe even better, because there is that pent-up demand that is, a lot of people wanted to do things. They were ready to do things, and they've had to hold back because of the virus.
Now, as you can see, the president gave us a round answer. I mean, he didn't stay completely on subject, but that's nothing out of the ordinary. If you watch his press briefings, you can ask him about an airplane, and he'll talk about the airplane, and he may even talk about a vacation he once took as well. So it's not unusual for him to kind of go down another street and get back on the street that he started on. So that's not unusual. So he didn't stay on the subject of whether or not we'll get the money, how it will happen, but he did say two important things. He said, yes, he's looking into it. Number one, that's something that we need to hear. And the second thing is, he says, we're negotiating with the Democrats.
But we are talking about that. We're negotiating with the Democrats. We'll see what happens.
That lets us know that some talks will be on the way. Now, have they started? I highly doubt that they've started negotiating or even talking, because the Democrats are still working on that bill that they want to introduce. Nancy Pelosi is still working on having something together by this week. So I doubt that formal talks have begun. And Steven Mnuchin has already let us know very clearly that he doesn't see it likely happening in May. However, with President Donald Trump weighing in on this in the Rose Garden, things are looking a lot more hopeful. Now, there's another proposal that has been gaining some traction among the Republicans. Not all, but some have been interested in this new proposal. A lot of you are not going to like this, so brace yourselves. This plan is proposing that some people will be able to receive a $5,000 check, just a $5,000 check, and get this, the check will be drawn from your Social Security. Yes, your Social Security check that you usually receive when you're 62 and older after having worked and put into that Social Security savings by working and paying your taxes. Yeah, they're kind of proposing that you receive that $5,000 check now, and it comes out of your Social Security when you're finally eligible for Social Security. So basically, this new proposal is proposing that you get your money, your own money, early now, even though you've been inconvenienced by this entire pandemic, as has most of the world. But as Americans, that you get your money that you will work for and put into the economy and earn that Social Security. They're proposing that you get that now early in the form of a $5,000 check. And once you're old enough and eligible to receive Social Security, it comes out of there. So you basically pay it back with your hard work. Yeah, that's the new proposal. And it's gaining some traction among Republicans. I told you you were not going to like it, but keep in mind it's just in the talks. We know what the Democrats are proposing. They're proposing $2,000 per month per American, including children. Starting from March, that has already passed. They're proposing that you get back pay starting from March. So $2,000 a month starting from March all the way to the end of the pandemic, and continuing for 3 months after the pandemic. So they want you to get paid starting from March, which has already passed. So March, that's 2,000. April, that's 2,000. May, that's another 2,000. And then every month after, another $2,000 until this whole thing is over. And 3 months after, still receive $2,000. That's what the Democrats are proposing. And now a few Republicans are looking into this new proposal about the Social Security being paid out early. So we have these two things that are being considered now, and we can't look at either of them as complete possibilities. Both of them are ideas right now. Should this alarm you? Should this scare you? Should this make you want to back off? Absolutely not. This Social Security thing, it's highly unlikely that this thing will pass at all. These provisions are not completely outlined yet, and we just don't have enough information about this proposal to see where it's going to go. Hopefully, the Republicans will meet halfway or even come out with a nice proposal of their own that can counter the ones that the Democrats have put out. Maybe the Republican Party can come out with something even better that the American people can get behind. We'll just have to wait and see, and I'll keep you updated, and I'll let you know on the next stimulus update.